Hello everybody, this is Heather from Flavorful Tea and Fruit Company. I wanted to welcome you back to another video, and thank you again for, if you are somebody who's watched my videos before, to coming back. I know I'm not very consistent with some of these videos on YouTube, but I do post a lot more lives on Facebook, so if you haven't already, follow us on our Facebook page. It's just Flavorful Tea and Fruit Company, LLC. Now today I wanted to go over some ingredients again of another type of tea, but again, this specific tea is not a tea. It's an herbal tea. It's only made with herbs and fruit, and it is something that doesn't have any actual Camellia sinensis in it. It doesn't have caffeine, and because it doesn't have those two things, it's not an actual tea. But if you want to call it an herbal tea, by all means, call it an herbal tea or a fruit tea, because I think fruit might be a little bit of a better description for this one rather than the last one. Now, this one today is also one of our new ones. It is coming and made in Germany, so we created the different blend, and then this company blended it for us with ingredients that they grow in Germany. So this is a unique tea. It's one of the 26 different flavors that we are currently blending and having done in Germany and brought to our shop. This one is specifically called Banamisu. It is a banana pudding tiramisu. So if you like tiramisu and you like bananas or banana pudding, this is going to be a treat for you because it definitely does have bananas and it does have that distinct flavor. And it also does taste like tiramisu, which, by the way, has coffee in it. So believe it or not, this one does actually have a tiny, tiny, tiny bit of what we would call a type of caffeine, but there is no actual caffeine in here because the coffee beans are not processed to have caffeine. And if you didn't know that, tea is the only thing that has natural caffeine in it. If you would pick the leaves of a tea bush or a tea tree, you would have caffeine in that leaf immediately. But with coffee beans, you have to process them, and that is what gives you that kind of caffeine level that you are used to. Now, let's get into the different ingredients. Now, I'm going to go from the ingredient that we have the most in this blend all the way down to the least amount that we have in a blend. So when you're looking at the ingredient list for this one, if it's the first, second, third ingredient, that is the one that has the most amount of that ingredient in the blend. But the further down that list you go, the less of it is. So if it's the last ingredient in there and you're like, well, I don't really like that one ingredient, don't fear. If it is something that is at the end of the ingredient list, there generally is not a lot of it in there. And sometimes when we blend certain herbs and spices or whatever it is that we blend, we are doing that to actually get the color or the smell, the aroma, rather than the actual flavor of it. So let's get into it so I don't go a little bit crazy. I will show you, like you can see a little bit in this package right here, a little of those ingredients, but my personal stash is actually inside of this jar right here. Now you can tell there is a lot going on in here, and yes, those are banana chips in there. So let's go to the one that we have the most amount of. Now, if you've watched some of my other videos, you're going to notice that this ingredient I talk about a lot. These are actually apple pieces. Now, this one you can actually see the skin of the apple, but then there's also going to be apple pieces that look like this, where you don't see the skin. They're a little bit of a lighter color. There's nothing wrong with a darker colored one. It's just because it's closer to the skin. Now, we do take those because we do use flavoring, and this one actually does say flavoring, but it's because the bananas that we have in here, what we do is we have them boil those bananas, make them into a paste, throw those apple pieces in there, let them sit for about 48 hours, and then dehydrate the apple pieces to get more of that banana flavor. So if it says flavoring, do not think that it is something that is chemical based or artificially created. Now, our second most ingredient here, and I'm going to see if I can get this on my little pinchers here, is these bad boys. Now, you saw that in my little jar that I had there. These are our banana chips. All it is banana and coconut oil, and then it is dehydrated. We use coconut oil so that the banana chips, when they're dehydrating, don't stick to each other. But if you are sensitive to coconut or coconut oil, this might be something that you want to stick and sit out for. Then we're going into the cocoa peel. I'm going to show you what one of the really big cocoa peels look like, and then what the smaller ones do. So this one is almost of like a black color, but it's actually a dark, dark brown. It is literally peeled off of the cocoa. And then this is a little bit more of like most people would consider cocoa peel. It's smaller, it's more of a chocolatey color brown. It just gives you that cocoa aroma and taste. You will definitely get a cocoa taste in this one. Then we go to the pineapple cubes. Let's see if I can get it on there. So you guys can look at that pineapple cube. It's made out of pineapple and sugar. So there is a tiny bit of sugar in this tea naturally, but it's because when you're doing pineapples, if you don't put sugar on them, since pineapple is basically only water, if you dehydrate it, it would shrivel up and then it would cause it to actually just be nothing. There would be nothing to actually rehydrate. We do have little pieces here. We try to keep them into those square shapes, though sometimes they do come out a little bit irregular. Now here's the part that a lot of you guys are going to be interested in. This is a coffee bean. And yes, you can definitely smell coffee when you first smell this tea blend. Now, this does not have caffeine. It has not been processed to actually make coffee. This is a whole coffee bean that comes straight from the tree. I had the opportunity to try coffee beans like this when I was in the Dominican Republic. And let me tell you, plain old coffee beans are bitter. They are not sweet when they are unprocessed. It's actually kind of gross. But when you blend them with your tea, you then get that flavor that you would have inside of a tiramisu. And if you've had tiramisu before, there is all of those kind of coffee-based or cappuccino-based ingredients in that actual dessert. Then we go to these sweet blackberry leaves. Now, they are going to look a little bit different. They're a little bit darker because they pick their blackberry leaves in Germany later than what I would pick them. On the farm, if I'm getting blackberry leaves, I literally pick them right away in the spring when they first start coming up, and then I stop because I have a general rule that the longer you let it wait, the more chance it is that the leaves can actually get bitter. Well, in Germany, they actually wait a little bit longer, and it is because of their climate. It is a little bit different than our own. Then we are going to go to another banana one here, and let me just make sure. These are called freeze-dried banana chips. Now, there are a lot of things that go into making this. You're going to be able to tell the difference between the banana chips with the coconut oil and the freeze-dried banana chips, as the freeze-dried banana chips are going to be smaller. These have sweet condensed skim milk, sugar, glucose syrup, butter fat, and it has wetting agents, which are sugar, or sorbitol, emulsifying agent, which is a mono and dioglycerin of edible fatty acids. Yeah, I know that's a lot of information. It's kind of crazy to think that that's like what is all inside of there, but really that is just because when they're freeze drying it, they're actually also making these guys. I'll let you look at this before I actually show you what this is. So this is a cream caramel piece, and that has all of those ingredients that I just read to you, and it is mixed with those freeze-dried banana chips so that these guys not only have that caramel taste, but they also have that banana taste, which is what I want you guys to be able to taste in here. The first ingredient that I want you guys to be able to taste when testing or tasting this tea is bananas, and then after that, the chocolatey coffee yumminess of tiramisu. If you have any questions about anything else or the processing of this tea, please ask. I do have a lot of information, and the company that I work with, I do trust, and they've been doing this since the 1800s. So they are a tea company that has been around for far more than 150 years, and they've been doing this for so long. And when I found out about them, I was glad to be able to meet them actually at the World Tea Conference in March in Las Vegas. This is going to be a bit of a darker cup when you are making it. You do want to have this at the boiling temperature again, or if you don't want to boil your tea, make it at least 200 degrees. The hotter the temperature, the better it's going to be, because otherwise some of these ingredients are not going to be able to have enough time or enough heat to be able to give you that best flavor. And when it comes to those these cream caramel pieces, these are actually going to melt completely into your tea, and it's going to give you a milky cream kind of texture to your tea. So the tea is going to be a little bit more of a thicker tea. So this is almost going to feel like you already have milk in your tea, sort of like how the British do their tea, and it's going to be a real great treat. I will have in the description below where you can purchase some of this, and I also will have in the description below if I'm going to be having this as one of our teas samples for one of our weeks at the Appleton Farm Market. So if you're ever in Northeast Wisconsin and you want to be here on a Saturday and you go to College Ave from 8 a.m. to 12:30, you will be able to actually taste test a lot of my teas, but it's always based off of a theme. Otherwise, guys, if you have any questions, you know where to reach me, and I hope today was a great learning experience. Bye!